Okay, so this is going to be a story today. Ben Domenech here to react. And Ben, nice to see you. Thanks for coming back as a Fox News contributor. Let me read the headline from the Washington Post, and you can react to all this, okay? Return to Biden-Harris snags Democrats' push to turn the page on 2024. The party's hoping to move on from its losses and look to the future, but its central figures from the last election keep stepping back into the spotlight. You watched it, you saw it. What'd you think, Ben?
Well, I think that in one sense, Kamala Harris kind of needed to do what she did, announcing, that she was not going to be running for office, as some people expected her to in California. I do think that sets up some real problems for them in the future. But the truth is that they are stepping on any kind of Democratic attempt to move on from what was a disastrous administration, one that opened our border, that spent so much money that people never really saw come into their communities and neighborhoods, hiked inflation on everything, made everything more expensive, and really, I think, is going to be judged by historians as a failure with an unpopular president who, on the way out, had all of this different beef with all of the different leaders of the party. The Democrats need to move on from the Biden years, and Biden and Harris are simply not going to apparently help them with that. Instead, it's going to have to, I think, be something where they are hooked from the stage a little bit. You got to pull them off as opposed to letting, because they're not going to go along politely, I don't think.
Well, maybe they don't want to go away because they know that they have to repair their legacy. That's kind of how I read what's happening with Joe Biden here. Hunter Biden's interview did not help his dad whatsoever. And then you've got this oversight investigation that comes out with one aide after another after another. It doesn't make him look any better than he did on that debate stage last summer. So is that how you read this, that they're just trying to repair their legacy?
I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right, Aisha. And look, this is a guy who essentially his lifetime was spent in politics. He had a very short career outside of it. And it's one of these things where he doesn't want that to be the last taste that's left in everybody's mouth in terms of his debate performance that everyone will obviously view as framing his entire legacy. That he was this senile person who had issues with the auto pen usage and couldn't keep track of things and everything along those lines. He's trying to repair that. But it's coming at the cost, I think, of Democrats being able to move on from the Biden administration and say, hey, we're resetting. We are aware of the different critiques of that administration, of where it failed, of where it didn't connect with the American people and their priorities, and we're learning from that. And for all the Democrats who are trying to do that, Alyssa Slotkin is one example of that, for example, it's not something that's going to come easy when they keep reinserting themselves into the narrative.
So you've got these hearings behind closed doors that Republicans are leading from folks who helped run Biden's team. Right on cue, here we go. 13 months ago, this was the debate with Joe Biden that set the prairie fire across the political country. Watch.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare, I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
And that's going to be played for a long time. I've seen it hundreds of times already. Mike Donilon, top political aide for Joe Biden, was behind closed doors yesterday. Apparently he said something about he can make millions of dollars if Biden were to be reelected, but here was part of his statement. Every president ages over the 4 years of her presidency, and President Biden did as well, but he also continued to grow stronger and wiser as a leader as a result of being tested by some of the most difficult challenges any president has ever faced. How do you read that, Ben?
Donilon is just trying to spin his way out of this. And it's, the people who were closest to Biden, who were able to see what was going on, it was incumbent upon them, I believe, as American citizens, to make clear that this was not a president who could currently function, to make it clear to the cabinet, to make it clear to other leading Democrats. Unfortunately, Mike Donilon apparently had a multi-million-dollar incentive to try to get the president reelected. And that's just not something that I think, should any way affect the way that you are actually working for the American people in that role. You have an obligation to them. But I mean, you have to ask the question: were you just trying to make more money with this? And I think that's true of a lot of the people who were around Biden at the end. And even Hunter Biden made this point, by the way, about Anita Dunn, who has yet to testify, but will be part of this whole array of staffers who are coming forward.
And this is one thing that Kamala Harris will have to address. She has to address this if she does
100%.
get back into the arena. Really quickly before we let you go, David Axelrod on CNN said that he thinks that she is setting herself up to run in 2028. What say you?
I think that he's completely correct about that, but I also think it would be a disaster for Democrats. Once again, I don't think that the country's going to like her more after more than 107 days. Let's put it that way.
Nice to see you. Enjoy your weekend, okay?
Thank you, Ben.
Ben Domenech, thanks.
Good to be with you. You're a sicko for liking August so much, Bill. You're a sicko.
It's warm. Everything's beautiful. Enjoy it, all right? You can't escape it. Embrace, Ben.
Good to be with you.
You too. Thanks.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.